everyone, Vanessa Canavero here, your mindset coach. So today I want to talk about insecurities. Now this is something that I believe everybody has to battle. I know myself, it's something that I am constantly battling. It's constantly the push and the pull in my head of things that I think I can or cannot do. Being worried about having the right backdrop for a video, being worried about saying the right words. So like seriously retaking a video 10 times, which I am no longer doing. This is it, this is what you're getting. That kind of stuff, right? Just because we don't think that we're good enough or that we're accomplished enough or that we know enough. Way back years ago, as you guys know, I am a published author, and that my journey with that has been something that has a lot of ups and downs, has had a lot of excitement and struggles, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of just being insecure and having a lot of self-conscious about actually putting myself out there in my words and in my thoughts, which can be a little bit intimidating. When I started writing, my journey, I started writing as a kid, right? But when I actually decided that, hey, you know what, I'm gonna look into publication, I had written a few manuscripts. They were for children's books, and I had submitted them, honestly. Now this was back in the late 90s. I had submitted them to probably, oh my gosh, one story in particular, probably 50 different publishing companies in Canada and the US. 50 different. I had done a lot of research. I had done a lot of, okay, how do I write the perfect letter? What do I send? And back then we were not emailing any of our manuscripts. They were printed off and you were sending a big yellow envelope filled, like seriously this thick at least, with your document, your manuscript, and sending that off and going, oh my gosh, good luck, right? And then it was probably costing about $8 to mail each one out. And hopefully you get a letter back or something, at least saying, hey, we received your manuscript. Hopefully you got something back. That was a big deal. You check the mail every single day. Maybe there was a letter in there. So anyway, back to my publishing journey. So I would send my manuscript away and I would wait and I would wait and I would pray and I would wait and I would read stories about other people becoming published and I would wait. And then I get a letter back saying, hey, thank you so much for submitting your book idea, but it doesn't fit our program, or our slate is filled up for the next 2 years, or you can get a reply back at all. So it was frustrating. It was very, it really pulled on your emotions because you're wondering, oh my gosh, am I good enough? What if I'm not good enough? I am competing literally against thousands and thousands of people every year submitting their manuscripts to these publishing companies. Then, lo and behold, one day I get a letter back saying, yes, my gosh, I love your story idea. It was actually from a company, our publishing company in the US. I love it. We would love to talk to you about the possibility of maybe 6 more books coming from you. Oh my gosh, it was like the clouds had opened, the sun was shining down. It was an absolutely amazing feeling because this was probably after about a year of submitting constantly my book ideas to publishing companies. Well, got all set up with that company, was assigned an artist and the whole shebang, and the company went into bankruptcy. And then my hopes and dreams went into bankruptcy with them as well because that was it. I had kind of garnered everything on this one publishing company and it was over. So my book didn't come to life with them, which was sad. Well, by this time though, I had already been researching publishing companies for years and years, and I understood what went into the production of a book. So what I did was I started my own publishing company at that moment. Found an amazing artist, an amazing editor, and we came together and we produced my first book, I Want a Dragon, which did very well, and then my second book, Zero the Superhero, which again did very well. So this was before indie publishing was the thing. This was before anybody was doing any self-publishing. So I had the constant battle with other writers and stuff. And I shouldn't say battle. I had the constant kind of gnawing words from other writers that I would meet online about, okay, you're not really published, you're self-published. Well, honestly, I've made money off all of my books. I did not lose any money. I made back all of my investments plus some. So that is a successful writer. if you get accepted from a publishing company, thank goodness you do. I mean, that's amazing, but you still have to take care of the majority of the marketing out there. You're still schlepping your books out there in the real world. You're still handling all that stuff because you want to sell as many books as you can and you want to be noticed and recognized as a successful author. So that's essentially what I was doing with my own company. I was doing the exact same thing. I was successful, made all my money back, all my investment back, plus some, plus I had interviews, I had all these great things, I had reviews, all these great things that were happening with my books. It was awesome. This was before that indie publishing companies, the indie marketing, all that stuff was popular. And I did it. I did it all on my own. That was awesome, right? So, book 3 comes along. And this was the big one. This is my historical fiction thriller of Lions and Lambs. This was the big one. This guy took me 3.5 years to write. I did the whole thing too. I did the whole self-publishing. It was awesome. Got fabulous reviews with it. You can buy it in ebook format. You can buy it in hard copy. All of these wonderful things. And again, I made back my whole investment. I'm totally, in profit mode with that book. Again, right? So now I'm taking the next step, which is I'm looking for an agent. I want to look for an agent now who wants to look at my book, possibly pick it up and represent it, meaning that representing it to other publishing companies, or my big want, and one of my big goals for 2019 is to actually have a production company look at it. Because of Lions and Lambs, if you haven't had a chance to read it yet, is actually a fantastic concept for a TV series or a full movie. But for a TV series, because of how the chapters are written, it would be a great episode, 1 or 2 episodes per chapter. So it's got a kind of a different concept line, definitely in line with a bunch of the new productions that are coming out right now with the, kind of the themes and the visuals and stuff that are coming out with a bunch of the new TV series that are popping out. So my big goal now is to find a production company, an agent, to pick it up, present it. I'm not a screenplay writer, so hopefully match me up with a screenplay writer that we could go over my book together and maybe put something together to have this actually turned into a TV series. Hoping to base it out of Canada because that's where I'm from, but hey, wherever it is. So anyway, that's one of my big goals that I've set for myself for 2019. If you guys have watched some of my past videos, a couple of videos ago, I actually talk about how to make this year the year that you do everything. All those things that you've had in the back of your mind thinking, oh, maybe one day I want to do this, or one day I wish I could do this, or, oh, if only I had a chance to do this, or I've always wanted to write a book, or I've always wanted to take a trip here, I've always wanted to start my own business, whatever it is, right? It was kind of 2019 will be the I've always wanted to year to start following through with some of those things that I've always wanted to do. And this is one of those things. And I've got another one happening right now too. My I've always wanted to do is kind of happening in the background, but I'm not going to say anything about it yet until it actually comes to fruition. And then you guys get the kind of a taste of what my next goal is. But so now, my gosh, it brings me back to my whole original topic of insecurities. Okay, so if I hadn't taken that step after receiving, hey, lady, don't send me any more manuscript letters, or not getting any responses at all, or getting rejections from other companies, or being afraid of taking on the step of starting my own publishing company, or being afraid of taking the step to publish my own works, or continue to be afraid to not approach an agent or a production company about possibly picking up my book and turning it into a TV series. If I left all of those insecurities in place, I would never have felt, or I would never know the feeling of success, or the feeling of knowing that these words I've written down, they've now become history. And the kids that are reading my children's books, they might read that same book to their kids. Because I have books from when I was a kid still. They might read it to their kids. Or that something that I said in one of the books, or some sort of concept I've had in the story, or a moral that has happened in the story, has affected a person's life positively. How would that stuff have ever happened if I had left my insecurities, my fear of I'm not good enough, my fear of it's not perfect enough, my fear of the background isn't good enough, my fear of, oh my gosh, what am I gonna say? All that crazy stuff bounce around in my head. How would I have ever known the feeling and the success and the pride that I have from having those 3 books out there and available for people to read. How would I have known that? I wouldn't know what it's like. I wouldn't know what that feeling is like of being able to autograph books. I would never know the feeling of sitting at Comic-Con and at my table with my books there and autographing books for kids and autographing books for their parents and having emails come to me and letters sent to me saying, oh my gosh, my little boy loved I Want a Dragon so much, or oh my gosh, my little girl cannot get enough of reading Zero the Superhero. When is book 2 coming out? Or I had a lady recently say, Of Lions and Lambs has actually broken my brain. This is really cool. I love how you have history in this book and it's real. So just stuff like that. Like how would I would never know the feeling of how my words have touched somebody else in whatever capacity they have touched them. If I would have left my insecurities sit there and stew, sit there and say, hey, you can't do that, you're not good enough. If I would have let that happen, I would never know that feeling right now. So what I'm saying to you guys is stop being afraid of not being perfect enough. There is no such thing as perfect. That is somebody else's thought or a thought you got mingling in your mind. There is no such thing as perfect. There is no such thing as right now, right enough. There is no such thing. What there is go out there and do it. Go out there and get whatever it is you want to get, but go out there and get it. That's what there is. We are not guaranteed a certain number of days on this world. We are not guaranteed to be here tomorrow. So what I would really love for you guys to do is make some sort of impact on your life and the life of your family and the life of a stranger. Make some sort of impact where somebody will think back to you on the days you're no longer here, will think back and go, man, remember when he or she did this? Make a positive impact on this world. That's what this world needs. So, ditch the insecurities. You're never going to be perfect. And start running headfirst towards whatever it is you've always wanted to do. Go and do it. Insecurities are pretend. What's real is right now. Go get your real. So, see you later, guys. I love you so much. We will catch you on the flip side. Toodles!